Luke, how are you?
Blake, very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Thank you very
How
much
can
for
you?
doing this.
You're welcome. Can you see me okay?
I can see and hear you. Hi, Aziz, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, thank you. Thank you very much for doing this on such short notice. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Hi, Aziz. How you doing?
good. Everything's good.
Good.
A very
Good.
nice backdrop compared to both of ours, no offense.
No, 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 no.
I know
We've
it's
got
really
the
beautiful.
You would have done well on that Room Raiders Twitter account during COVID, I feel like. I feel like they would have liked that bookshelf.
Oh yeah, it's a very masterpiece theater too.
100%. All right, so we're
Yeah.
rolling. We can get going whenever you're ready. Thank you very much for doing this. Before I begin, and I get this a lot as well with a name like Radel. What's the best way for me to pronounce your last name?
Okay, it's Jen de Bean.
Gendebien.
Jen de Bean.
That's
Jen de
easy
Bean.
enough. That's easy enough. I always say Radel like cradle. Like that's the way that I get people to make it stick. Um,
Cradle like cradle. I like it. I
I
like
try
it's
to be
not.
very conscious. I try to be very conscious.
Yeah, you've
Um,
probably heard Riddell and many other things,
Mostly
right?
Riddell. Yeah, mostly Riddell, which
Yeah.
makes me sound a little more pretentious than I am, I feel like, but oh well. Thank you again for doing this. Talk to me a little bit about the genesis of this latest ad put out on Twitter by your campaign.
Okay, so we just wanted to have a lighthearted ad about a very serious issue. And we have an absent congressperson who is really interested in running for governor. And we wanted to help her get her second foot out the door. And so, what the district really needs is a congressman that's present, that's from the district, that farms in the district, that knows people and has grown up with people in the district and really cares about everyone here. And that is what we're running on. We're running on local issues like affordability, immigration reform, and nobody knows immigration reform like a farmer working in a broken immigration system on the border. We're supporting small business and we want to support rural health care. And the recent vote that the Congresswoman made on the reconciliation bill is not helpful to rural health care in northern New York.
Yeah. Is this the kind of ad that you guys are looking to run on television, or is this staying on social media as far as you know?
Right now, it's a social media ad, and we really want to. My point here is this is a very serious issue. The district elected Congresswoman Stefanik to represent us. I'm a small business person. If I had an employee come to work every single day and saying, I'm considering another job, I'm considering another job, I'm considering another job, that person wouldn't work for me very long. And so what we're doing is saying, hey, I think it's time, instead of saying you're considering another job, that you actually take the other job.
Yeah. I think uh, I'm curious about a whole wide range of this. You talk about it being a serious issue. The ad itself is not particularly serious. It's obviously very lighthearted. It also uses almost entirely or entirely AI generated imagery. Talk a little bit about the process of making the ad. How much did it cost you guys to make it? And why did you decide to use AI generated video? I haven't seen that very often from campaigns.
Right. Well, we wanted to be innovative. We wanted to do something different. AI is a tool, and it's important to use all tools responsibly. And you'll see that we made it very clear that it was an AI generated video. It was important to me that we didn't do the old black and white image of an angry face of your opponent with red blood text splattered across the screen. It's time for something new. It's time for something different. And this was the direction I wanted to go.
When you say you made it very clear, there is a disclaimer. It is at the end of the ad. It is in small print. Is that enough to keep folks? I mean, again, you see a lot of AI slop on the internet. It can very easily fool a lot of people. It is photorealistic. It's not particularly stylized in any way. I know you may think, oh, who would believe that this stuff is fake? But there are a lot of people who would think that. Are you concerned that people might be misled by the content of your ad?
No, I feel that we made it very clear at the end of the ad.
In small print at the bottom at the very end. That did not seem like a full. I mean, I know for us in news, and again, it's different, but in news, we have to have a disclaimer rolling across the top throughout the entirety of a video to prevent someone from believing that it's real. Was that considered?
The intention was never to fool anyone, and I felt that putting it at the end of the video was very clear.
Yeah, I want to give you the opportunity to react from some pushback from advisor to Elise Stefanik, Alex DeGrasse, who I'm sure you're familiar with. Sent us a rather lengthy statement, but refers to the imagery in the ad, the AI imagery, as sexist, deceitful, and shameful. I wonder if you have any reaction to that perspective.
I think that's extremely rich coming from Alex DeGrasse, who is the ultimate bully for the last 10 years. And in no way was it my intention to do anything other than have a lighthearted video to draw attention to something very serious in our district.
How was it generated? Can you hear
There
me?
are, yes, I can hear you. I do not know the exact format that it was generated on.
Okay, because I think in terms of the concern about sexism in particular, I know when showing it to other reporters in our newsroom and other people generally, there was a concern about the way in which the Congresswoman was depicted, particularly her weight and the way in which she's moving in the dance moves. Was that intentional?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. I'm also interested in the campaign more broadly. Do you believe that you'll be running against Elise Stefanik come 2026?
I do not believe that we'll be running against Elise Stefanik. I do believe we will be running by a handpicked opponent out of DC. And it really doesn't matter to me who it is because I'm running against bad policy that is bad for everybody in the district. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. I'm working really hard to make sure that everybody knows that I care about Trump voters. I care about Elise voters. I care about everyone in this district because it's where I'm from. It's where I was born and raised. And I just want this place to be a better home for families, to be more affordable. Let's solve immigration reform. Let's be pro business. And let's make sure that we have good health care for our seniors because over 50% of this district is over 65.
Yeah. Um, in terms of the messaging behind the ad itself, do you believe that Governor Hochul should run for re-election? Do you support her campaign?
I will support the Democratic nominee for governor in New York State. In fact, there have been some great policies out of Albany for agriculture in the last few years, including the investment tax credit for farmers, which is excellent. And I think we need to build on that momentum and keep it going.
What do you make of Governor Hochul's tenure so far?
So far, I will not say it's perfect. No, but it has not been perfect. But I do think that specifically to agriculture, rural policy in the North Country, rural housing and investments in rural housing that we've seen recently, which is very important in Northern New York, these are good things. And I want to continue to build on that momentum.
Yeah. What are some of you say it's not perfect. What are some of the disagreements that you've had with the governor?
I do believe that the issue with our corrections officers could have been handled better.
How so?
I think there could have been more patience, a little bit more understanding. Again, I am from the district. I have friends that are corrections officers, and we talk about these things. And I think we could have done a little better job there.
You bring up corrections officers. You've been asked questions about this before, but I want to give you the opportunity to respond to it now. There was a 13-year-old interview that was resurfaced by Republicans shortly after you entered the congressional race, in which you made a variety of comments, but specifically about corrections officers. The quote was, corrections officers who you probably know, they don't have much self-worth in their jobs as corrections officers. You said you have friends who are corrections officers. What did they make of those comments?
Right. They understood that that was taken out of context. There's an hour and 20-minute interview there. Could I have used a different word than self-worth almost 15 years ago? Absolutely. My point in the interview was to explain that my friends that are corrections officers, they work doubles and then they come out and they do side hustles and side jobs, like put siding and roofs on houses, and they love those jobs. And the intention there was to explain how important the corrections officers were to our community. And in rural New York, we don't have a lot of contractors. So these guys provide a tremendous amount of value. And that was really the intention there.
Yeah, I guess you say that they're taken out of context. What is the context of saying something like that about corrections officers, particularly about
Right.
the
Right. The context is it's a tough job, extremely tough job. And it's long hours. And these guys work double shifts so that they can go out and do the things that they really enjoy, like putting up sheetrock for homes and things that they get a lot of value out of and feel really good about. It's a tough job being a corrections officer. And the guys that I know work doubles so that they can go out and do other jobs on the side, which my intention was to explain how very important those jobs are to the community.
Do they feel self-worth in their job as corrections officers, your friends?
Yes, that was the incorrect word.
Okay.
It should have been something different. I was trying to explain
Yeah.
how much value they bring to the community outside of their job.
And I'm happy to clear that up because, again, I think you've addressed this in other markets, but we've not had a chance to speak with you. So I wanted to make sure that our audience knew that clarification. The other comment that was made referred to workers in upstate, I believe farm workers, in terms of having alcohol problems and domestic abuse issues. What is the context surrounding that statement? And do you regret making it?
I, Again, I would never make a broad stroke around many people. If you're a small business owner in upstate New York, northern New York, it's very hard to find employees and reliable employees. And I was talking about personal experiences on one occasion where it was frustrating and hard to work around. And it's not an unusual experience to encounter a bad apple now and then. And that's really what I was talking about. I would never make a broad statement about the entire community in northern New York.
Yeah, I guess.
We've hired we have hired hundreds of local people, and many of them are very good over the last 40 to 50 years.
Yeah, I guess the concern is when you say bad apple and that you wouldn't make a general statement, the quote about it was it's hard to find a person who doesn't have an alcohol problem or a domestic abuse issue. That does sound like a general statement. That doesn't sound like you're just talking about bad apples. That sounds like you're talking about the community when you say it's hard to find someone who is not a good apple, if you will.
Hey,
Right.
Luke, sorry, I'm just gonna jump in here. Before starting this, we talked about talking broadly about the campaign. If you do want to dive into a deeper piece on this news, which was reported uh 6 months ago now, almost 7 months ago now, we're happy to make time to have that longer conversation. But this was not what we talked about at the top. So
Is
happy
Mr.
happy to
Gendebien unable to answer the question, or Gendebien unable to answer the question, or
Yeah, Blake is happy to answer the question, but I just want to flag this was not what we talked about at the top.
yeah, so
And
nothing
yeah,
nothing is ever off limits in an interview, period, full stop. And also I said we would talk about the campaign generally, and this is again coming from the Stefanik advisors' response to this ad. Part of their statement is referring to these comments, and so I wanted to give your candidate an opportunity to respond to them for our audience. So I didn't realize there was a taboo
I
around
guess
asking questions.
there's no taboo. I'm just flagging this was 7 months ago. Happy to dive into it, but
I don't know
just
why you wouldn't allow your
yeah.
candidate to flag that for himself. Why would that be a problem?
it's Aziz and Luke. It's okay. I'm totally I'm
Okay,
totally happy. Um, I'm an open book. So and I think I can answer your question,
please.
Luke. Um, Nearly 15 years ago, I was not a politician. I'm not a politician today. I'm a farmer who cares about my community. And I was talking out of frustration at the time. And it any self-employed businessman or woman in the district knows how hard it is to find talented uh, members of the community to join your workforce. It's a constant struggle. And we I was fresh off of a bad experience that included theft on the farm. And so I was expressing some frustration, and maybe it wasn't perfect. And I just want to make that clear that I wouldn't intentionally make a broad stroke across my entire community, especially the community that I love.
And thank you for addressing that. Listen, Congresswoman Stefanik has not offered us the opportunity to press her as you are offering us now, and I greatly appreciate that. If we have the opportunity to interview her, there are several comments from a variety of years that I would love to ask her about, and I would imagine you guys would be okay with me asking her about those issues. So I'm very grateful to you for taking the time to address those. In terms of your campaign moving forward, what are those issues, the platforms that you're going to be running on to win in a district that has been in pretty steady Republican control, has been won pretty handily by the Congresswoman for a long time? How do you win over those voters that have supported her in cycle after cycle?
Mhm. So I don't live in an echo chamber. In agriculture, we have Democratic friends, Republican friends. We help each other all the time. My kids have been coached by people on both sides of the aisle. I go out, I jump in my tractor, I help my neighbors who are on both sides of the aisle. We operate on what's best for the North Country. And as a farmer, I know that there are ways to drive down cost at the dinner table. Absolutely. As a farmer, I know that there are ways to fix immigration and come up with a Farm Worker Modernization Act. You've got to have a farmer in the room to discuss this. We don't have a farmer in the room in Congress to discuss the Farm Worker Modernization Act. It's ridiculous. And then that act can be used to expand upon with hospitality, with healthcare, with construction, with forestry. These are things that we need. On top of that, New York's 21st district is loaded with innovative small businessmen and women. They need support. They need programs that help them be successful, programs that allow their children to come home and take over the business. We hear all too often parents say, I don't want my kids to come home and take over the business. That's a shame. We should want them and incentivize them to come home and take over businesses. And then on top of that, like I mentioned before, we've got a district with nearly 50% of the people over 65, and a huge portion are veterans. My uncle Rodney had a stroke June a year ago, and we had to take him from Lisbon, New York to Syracuse for routine doctor's appointments. That only happened because he had family, he had us around. Imagine if he was alone, that it just wouldn't have been possible for him, or it would have been cost prohibitive. So we need to make sure that we have programs available that support our friends and neighbors in the North Country. And these, since when is supporting small business, supporting rural health care, fixing a broken immigration system, and making dinner more affordable a divisive platform? It's not. It's a North Country platform. It's a Utica platform. It's a Rome platform. And that's what I'm working towards.
When,
Actually being
yeah.
it, sorry, it's important to actually be from the district. It's important to actually care about the district. It's important to have raised a family in the district. And my wife and I put three boys through public school in the district. We actually get it here. And that's a big difference with some other candidates.
You mentioned healthcare. When the Congresswoman voted for the so-called Big Beautiful Bill, what does that mean for rural hospitals in the district that you're seeking to represent? What have you heard from people on the ground?
Yeah, so on the ground, we know that cuts to Medicaid are a real problem for rural hospitals. We have friends that work in the Claxon Hepburn Hospital in Ogdensburg. We have friends that work in Potsdam and in Canton. And it is going to hurt those hospitals because so many people in our district are on Medicaid. And then when Medicaid is gone, guess what? They go to the emergency room. And that becomes and they can't pay their emergency room bill. So that becomes a burden on the hospital. And all it does is make the hospitals more and more financially strapped.
Yeah. When you mentioned before the percentage of people in the district that are senior citizens, I can't help but think that the commercial that was just put out might they might be particularly susceptible to thinking that it's real. So if you want to address that concern as well, you're welcome to. But more broadly, when you talk about working with farmers, working with people who have voted for Elise Stefanik, not once, not twice, but three, four, five times, the
Mhm.
spirit of this ad, do you think that is something that will win them over? Are you trying to convince people who voted for Elise Stefanik, who support Elise Stefanik, who like Elise Stefanik, who maybe love Elise Stefanik, that you're the pick for them when you're making a video that seems to have a mocking tone towards her?
Right. No, like I said before, as a small business person, if my key employee came to work every day saying, I'm looking for a new job, that person wouldn't work for me very long.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to point out that, hey, the Congresswoman is looking for a new job and maybe she should go. And we were trying to do that in a lighthearted way. Like I said before, I am so tired of the angry black and white images with blood splattered across the screen. It's time we move beyond that. And
Why are you done with them? Why specifically?
because the anger and the vitriol in politics really needs to change.
Isn't that what this ad is though? Like with a different art style? Like this is not substantive, really. Like
Right.
it's trolling.
Right. This is it. That is not my intention, is to show angry, ugly images at all.
I mean, she's got a bottle that says Lawler's Tears. Is there like a substantive point behind that?
Where again, it's a lighthearted video that's meant to have some fun.
Okay. Blake, I really appreciate all of your time today, and thank you to Aziz, and thank you to you for taking the time to mention it. Is there anything that I've not asked you about that you want to say, that you want to tell folks who are watching? Maybe a place
No,
to check out more about
no.
it.
Right.
I know how
I,
much you guys love to plug the website, so I figured I'd
right,
give you.
right. No, Luke, this was great. I appreciate the opportunity, and I think. Did you want us to come down a couple of weeks ago? Is
At some
that
point.
this?
At some
Yeah,
point.
I'd be happy. I'd be
We'd love
happy to come down. Absolutely.
Thank you very
Yep.
much. And even if you're in Rome, the next time you're in Rome, we're able to make it out there pretty easily. So we'd love to cover it. And again, this is, if you look around at interviews that I have done with folks on both sides of the aisle, this is standard fare for me. So I don't want you to
Yeah.
think that I'm just giving you a special hard time. I have a view, and I think members of our audience have a view, and I hope you share it, as unpleasant as it is in the moment, that it's important for candidates to take tougher questions and to face some scrutiny, and that applies to everyone. But moving forward, now that we've gotten that hard part over with, I'm looking forward to talking always about substance and about the issues that are facing the community.
That sounds great. Where are you from?
I'm from New Hartford originally, so
New
just
Hartford, Connecticut?
just sorry, New Hartford, New York. So it's a suburb of Utica. It's like just shy of the district. So everything that is like north of I-90 in Oneida County
Yeah,
is in
yeah.
the 21st. And so
And
we're just south of I-90.
where did you get your undergrad?
I'm about to be a senior at Syracuse University.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
That's
it.
awesome. So you're going, our son Miles is going into his senior year at Tufts,
Oh, that's
and he's
awesome.
very, very excited.
What's he
So
studying?
you're a journalism student at Syracuse, is that correct?
Yes, journalism and political science. So it's the Newhouse School. It is pretty, I don't know,
That's terrific.
pretty
That's
well.
terrific. Congratulate. Seriously, I'm not buttering you up, right? I know my son's a senior, and it's a lot of work. And congratulations. And you're working through your school. So
Well, Syracuse
that's
doesn't pay
great.
for itself, so
No, no, it
maybe
doesn't.
get into Congress, start working on that student loan debt relief, and then you'll really be buttering me up. So
Actually, I have ideas there, and maybe we could talk about that. That would include kids graduating from BOCES.
yes.
There could also be some loan forgiveness for them if they go out and buy a pickup truck and some tools. Maybe we need to think about those young guys too. So let's talk about
My
that
brother is a person with Down syndrome, and so all of those issues are super personal to me. He's at Syracuse, has a program called Inclusive U, so they have a program for students with disabilities there, and he's there with me. We live in an apartment behind the dome, which is a lot of fun. Yeah, so those are super important personal issues to me, and I'm looking forward to discussing them as we move forward.
Let's have another conversation.
Thanks, Blake. I appreciate it. Aziz,
Thank you.
much. And I'm sure Aziz can connect you. You can give him my cell phone number and all the rest of it, and we'll keep in touch.
Okay,
Thank you very
thanks.
much. Appreciate it.